Lipo 360 or a tummy tuck? Which one do you need? Let's talk about it. So you've probably researched this and you've seen, and I may have said this too, where Lipo 360 is for removing excess fat and tummy tucks are for removing excess skin. But that's not all that goes into the equation. And so I want to take you into the mind of a board-certified plastic surgeon to tell you what really makes a difference and determines which one you need, or you may need, which one you may need. So let's start by defining what each of them is and what each of them does, because they're not just variations on the same procedure at all. They're very, very completely different operations with very different goals in mind. So first, Lipo 360. The 360, as you probably know, means a full circle, meaning we're going around the entire torso. We're doing the abdomen, the flanks, and the back. Typically, we focus on the entire front abdomen, upper and lower abdomen, the flanks to redefine the waist, and the upper and lower back. And what we can do with that is we can address any excess fat that is stubborn and not that responsive to diet and exercise. It's really body sculpting in its finest. We're really removing excess fat and then in doing so being able to recreate or create the contour that most enhances usually the feminine shape. In doing so we can narrow the waistline a little bit, and we can also, by subtracting fat from the back, we can also create what looks or what gives the illusion of a bigger bum because we've reduced and better contoured that upper and lower back. So lipo removes fat and only fat. It does not address skin and it does not address any muscle at all. By contrast, a tummy tuck or abdominoplasty does three major things. It removes excess skin, it can remove excess fat as well, and it also repairs and tightens those separated abdominal muscles, the rectus abdominis muscles that I've talked about in previous videos, but that give us that six-pack. A tummy tuck is not just sculpting, it is actually full-on remodeling, right? Because it tightens the core, it helps to restore core stability, and it removes excess skin as well. So how do we decide between the two when we're looking at patients? So one is not just whether or not you have excess skin or excess fat, and what if you have both? What do we decide then? Well, let's break it down. So the first thing that we look at is your skin quality. We want to evaluate how much snapback we think you'll have after a lipo procedure, because a brand new rubber band, when you snap it, will go right back to its original position. If it's older and worn down, and I'm sorry to use that kind of metaphor, but if it's older and worn down, it's not going to snap back, it's going to stay a little bit looser. That really matters in whether or not we choose one or the other operation for you. Because patients with good skin quality are going to have a great result after Lipo 360 or after lipo period. They're going to have great snapback. That skin will retract and form to the new contour really well. And that's typically why younger patients tend to do better with just lipo alone versus actually removing excess skin as well. If you have poor skin quality, and how do you know if you have poor skin quality? Well, again, you can test yourself. Pinch your skin on your hand or anywhere really and see how long it takes to really contract and really get back to its original state. But if you have poor skin quality, if we were just to remove the excess fat, you would have a lot of excess skin afterwards. One telltale sign that's very, very clear about how the skin quality is whether or not you have stretch marks. If you have stretch marks, what that means is that the skin has already stretched actually beyond, right, its initial capacity. It's like tearing our rubber band. We can no longer get it to conform to any state because it's just going to hang loose. It's like creating little tears in a rubber band to the point where you have disrupted the elastic potential of it. Even if you pull it, it will not return to the original state. It'll stay loose. The first real question that we always ask is not whether or not there's excess skin or excess fat, but really, what will the skin look like if we remove any of the fat that we have there? The second question is, what is the state of the rectus muscles? So as I've said in previous videos, and hopefully you've seen this, but if you haven't, here's education again about the anatomy there. When we are born, we have two rectus muscles in the middle that give us that six-pack. As we gain weight, as we have pregnancies, those muscles separate to accommodate that increase in abdominal girth. When we give birth to a baby or when we lose the weight, there's no guarantee that those muscles will actually come back together. The aesthetic result is actually less important than the functional result. The result is that we lose core stability. And so the only real way to restore that core stability is to physically bring those muscles back together. Bring them back together, right? Because when you lose core stability, you're putting a lot of pressure on your back, which can cause back pain. The aesthetic outcome is that you can develop a pooch that no amount of exercise is going to be able to address after a certain point. So simply removing fat from an abdomen where you have lack of core stability, you have diastasis of the muscles, will not make the tummy any flatter. And it'll actually probably accentuate that now you have loss of fat and you still have a pooch. By tightening the muscles, we can flatten the tummy, but we also reduce core stability. We improve posture, we improve back pain. And even things like stress urinary incontinence, which we can see after pregnancy, is improved because we've improved core strength after an abdominoplasty. How do you know if you have diastasis recti? Well, here's a trick. Lay on your back at home and lift your head slightly. That'll contract your abdominal muscles. If you see a large kind of pooch or bulge right in the middle, that probably means that you have some degree of diastasis recti that could be improved by an abdominoplasty. But then there are people who don't fit into a category, and it's not either or, but it's both and. And in those cases, we do combine Lipo 360 with tummy tuck. Now, I will say that when we do a tummy tuck, we are disrupting a lot of the natural blood supply to the abdominal skin. And so because we're doing that, we do not want to do aggressive lipo with that as well, because lipo can cause disruption of the natural blood supply as well to that area. And so when we combine a tummy tuck with lipo or with Lipo 360, you want to make sure that your surgeon talks to you about being more judicious or more conservative in the lipo that they're doing to the actual abdomen, so that you don't end up with problems like a wound that won't heal. But ultimately, a combined operation is going to get you the most bang for your buck if you need it, and it's a true 360-degree transformation. In terms of recovery and scars, there is kind of a drastic difference there, right? Lipo 360 will often get you smaller scars, faster, a little bit faster recovery. You're probably back to work in a week or two. You wear compression garments. For my patients, I ask them to wear compression garments for a month, pretty much 24/7. And again, after an operation like this, no exercise, no heavy lifting for my patients for at least 6 weeks. For tummy tucks, on the other hand, you have a longer scar in the front. You need at least 2 to 3 weeks of resting at home before you can return to work realistically. And then there's no heavy lifting, no exercise for, again, 6 weeks. So which one do you actually need? So you can do these tests at home, right? Again, the snapback test will give you a good idea of what your skin quality is, and the sit-up test will give you a good idea of whether or not you have diastasis recti that can be addressed with an abdominoplasty. But ultimately, this should not be a decision that you make by yourself in your home. This should be a conversation that you have with your board-certified plastic surgeon. I hope this breakdown gave you some clarity. If you have questions or comments below, please leave them. As always, like and subscribe. And as always, love you lots, and bye for now.